Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ringo TV Reactions. We are back with another video. Yeah, that's right. Be sure to hit the like button one time, guys. We got some news that came at the news desk. Karmelo Anthony pretty much is in some serious hot water, guys. He been indicted on first-degree murder. And even more shockingly, the video of him and Austin leading up to the murder has been released. I told you guys, nobody believed me. It appears that the Daily Mail obtained the exclusive video leading up to the events on that dark day, guys. It is over for Karmelo. Now, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Double tap the screen, ladies and gentlemen, to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Now, this particular story has divided the nation. It has divided the nation because it involves a black young man and a white young man. Because of race, this story has divided everybody. And I've received a lot of hate for covering this story because when I do my content, I don't take sides. I look at the truth. I don't go with this group or that group. When I do commentary and criticism, I weigh the evidence and I make sense of what I'm looking at. And based on the facts, right? Based on the circumstances. A lot of people believe that Karmelo acted in self-defense. Then you have on the other side people that believe that Austin was, I guess, murdered in cold blood. And they want justice. And in the midst of this ordeal, the black community jumped on the bandwagon of Karmelo. Not because they weighed the evidence, not because they looked at the facts, but because he's black. And because the other guy's white. Now let's lay down some ground rules so that we can understand the magnitude of this issue. Number one, if this was two young black men, no one would care. No one would care. If this was Deshaun and Pookie from the projects, nobody would care. Nobody would donate no money. Nobody would make any YouTube videos because we see this happening all the time in the ghettos. Black on black crime, young black men gunning down each other, stabbings, shootings. We see it every single day. Nobody cares when young black men are killing each other. No one cares. In the neck of your woods, in your town, in your county, in your hood, if you live in a predominantly black community, crime takes place all the time. And you don't care. But when it came to this story, with these two men, it created division. It created riots, race wars, And the black community crowned Karmelo as a hero. They claimed that what he did was self-defense, but now the video been released. And based on the Daily Mail, they looked at the video and they basically said Karmelo's finished. He's done. Let's take a look at this tape, guys. Be sure to double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. They don't want me to talk about this topic, guys. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful. Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony.
First-degree murder indictment. You know why? Because they got a hold of the tape, guys. There was a camera that was rolling that captured everything, fam. He's done.
Which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve.
It struck a deep nerve because of social media influencers. Ladies and gentlemen, social media influencers can be notorious for causing race wars through their content by stirring up a lot of hate in you good people. That is why we are committed here at Ringo TV Reactions that when we do content regarding these cases, we look at the facts, we judge, we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning skills, and we're able to break things down to the smallest molecule so that you, the viewer, can walk away making your own choice on what you believe. Most content creators don't really care about the story. They care about dividing people and causing race wars in order to get a social media check. That's pretty much what they're into.
Here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves.
Now, let's get into a couple of things, guys, because it appears as if a lot of people may not understand the magnitude of this problem. Self-defense. A lot of people don't know law. They just believe that you could just go kill people when you want to. You can't do that, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't kill people when you want to, right? So now, let's look at the law, right? You have the use of force and you have the use of deadly force. We need to understand these things. We need to understand these penal codes, understand the circumstances. Now, in the case of Karmelo and Austin, Karmelo used deadly force. Karmelo had a knife. He was ready to kill. He was at a track meet. He was at a school. There was no need to have a weapon. Let's look at it like this, guys, before I get into this content. If you're at your house, on your yard, You're having a family day. Your relatives are over. Cars are all over your driveway, parked on the lawn, everywhere. Everybody's in the backyard having a good time. Y'all put something on the grill. The beers are being passed around. Music is playing. I just so happen to be walking through the neighborhood. I decide I want to crash the party. So I pull up, walk on your yard, your property, mind you. I'm not invited. It's not my area. I go to the backyard and I just grab myself a beer, figuring, you're black. I'm black. Should be no issue, right? You notice me there. You notice I wasn't invited to the family gathering. You don't know me. You kindly asked me to leave, but I refuse. I'm like, it's hot. I want to hang out with you guys. You tell me again, sir, please leave. Get off the property. You don't belong here. And then, in your arrogance and defiance, you tell me, if you want me to leave, you make me leave. Put hands on me and see what happens. I don't belong at your place. You never invited me to your place. I have no business at your place. But you are tempting me, provoking me by telling me to put hands on you if you want me to leave. So I go to you because this is my property. And I'm like, look, bro, you got to leave. And I reach forward my hand and you pull out a knife and stab me in the heart. And then claim self-defense. That's the case of Karmelo Anthony. Pretty simple, right? When you look at the case, guys, with these two men, Karmelo didn't belong in the section where he was at. These guys had their personal belongings there. That's like if I have my cell phone. All right, let's put it like this for all of you to understand, because I got to speak in a manner for a child to understand this. If we at the 9 to 5, me and 5 of the guys, we at the cafeteria. If I leave my cell phone at the table, I know Derek, he not touching my phone. Mark, he not touching my phone. Lewis, he not touching my phone. Ain't none of the fellas touching my phone. I could leave my food there, my drink, my lunch, my laptop. I could leave it there and I could go walk off, because I know all of us, we all know each other. We good. We watching each other's stuff. Right? But now, I'm not going to leave my stuff at a table where I don't know everybody. The area where Karmelo went to, he didn't belong. That area was for those guys. But he crashed the party. He was asked to leave. He didn't want to leave because he went there and, again, he had a weapon on him. He was asked to leave. No one had a weapon out. No one pulled out a gun. Austin didn't pull out a knife. Just asked him, you got to go. You don't belong here, bro. But Karmelo, in his arrogance, decided to be aggressive. And rather than de-escalating, because, the media painted him as a guy that is smart, intelligent, got a 3-point whatever, GPA, whatever crap they said he have, right? Try to make him appear smart. But he didn't make the right decision. Instead, he pulled out the knife. With all of his education, he pulled out the knife and told himself the best course of action would be to plunge this in this young man's heart, because I want to stay here. So because he told me to leave, I'm going to stab him in his heart. There was no threat. There was no violence. There was no guns. None of that stuff. Now, let's go back to the law. Now that I made that very clear, let's look back at the law, right? According to the self-defense, it says the use of force, meaning force. It says justified when reasonably believed immediately necessary to protect against another's unlawful force. Which mean, let's say, for example, Austin took a swing at Karmelo. Under the law, he have a right to take a swing back to defend himself. Do you understand that now? Are we on the same wavelength? That's how you defend yourself. Because a lot of people made it clear or was saying that, oh, he was being bullied. The brothers jumped him, but nobody had video. The Daily Mail got the video. And some other people have the tapes. They reviewed the tapes. It is very evident and clear. Everything that led up to these events, there was no justification or reason for what happened. Karmelo just murdered that kid. And this story have divided all of us. It caused a lot of race wars, hate on social media. I've received a lot of hate from the black community. They told me that I'm a coon, that I'm a sellout, I'm a Sambo. Anything that's negative, they labeled me that because I'm speaking the truth. In other words, what the black community want me to do is just side with Karmelo because he's black. That's how they want me to do. They want me to just be a part of the team because he's black. Well, I don't do that. I don't support people that just break the law and kill people for no reason. You got to be in the right circumstances to use deadly force. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we just can't go around killing people just because. Well, I don't like the fact that you bumped into me, so I felt my life was in danger, so I shot him in the head. No, you can't do that. You're going to go to prison for life. So now let's get back to the law. If Austin punched Karmelo, right, then Karmelo have the right to punch him back. That's why it says to protect yourself, justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's unlawful force, right? And then it says, let me respond to the chat because I think some people are slow. Let me respond to the chat. T says, you don't have any video. You just spewing biases. When did I say I have a video? When did I say I have a video? I think that the problem is you're not educated and you're slow. You see, I never said we had a video. I never said that. The title says, video of Karmelo Anthony stabbing Austin Metcalf released, debunks lie of self-defense. He's finished. When did I say I have a video? See, the problem with you is you have selective hearing. You didn't graduate high school. And you don't have a GED. See, if you came here to see a video, you have reading comprehension problems. I never said I have a video. I said in the video, the Daily Mail has the video. That's what I said. What's the matter with these people? They're weird. This is why I said I got to talk to you folks like you're children, because people, it's like they don't think like adults. They're like little kids. They're like children. You can't even give them the truth because they have a short attention span. They want instant gratification, instant content. Let me see the blood. Let me see. Go to the Daily Mail and ask them to let you see the video. They got the video. You understand? They got the video. So now let me do this real quick. Now, this is from the Daily Mail. I watched footage of the race crime that split America. What I saw choked me. And this is how it could flip the case. Now, keep in mind, this is coming directly from the Daily Mail. They have possession of the footage, which is about a 40-minute surveillance video. You understand? Let me read this thing real quick. It says, it was just after 10 a.m. It was just after 10 a.m. on April 2nd during what should have been a typical high school track meet at David, whatever that name is, stadium in Frisco, Texas. Students were warming up and stretching, patiently waiting for the competition to resume after a pause due to heavy rain. Spectators and some students took cover under a tent in the bleachers of Memorial High School. The atmosphere was calm and uneventful until suddenly turned into bloodshed. In a matter of seconds, then 17 years old Karmelo Anthony fatally stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, transforming a rainy delay into a crime scene. On Monday, the Daily Mail became one of the only two news organizations granted access to surveillance footage of the deadly incident. So now, to the person who came in here talking about show footage, do you have any understanding yet? Or are you going to still complain that I don't got no video and I'm just talking bias and all this other nonsense? Because nobody's biased about anything. The problem is you want me to basically side with Karmelo because he's black. I don't do that. Just because you're a black man or a black woman doesn't mean I'm going to side with you because you're black. That's crazy. If Karmelo stabbed and killed your black son, are you going to be so supportive of him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Melissa says, so how do you protect yourselves from bullies in America? Where do you get the assumption of bullies in America? See, you're assuming that Austin was a bully. What do you mean? So let me get this straight. You believe that if somebody tells you you don't belong here to leave, that it's appropriate to take a knife and stab them because they're a bully? That's how you think? See, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm telling you that America is under a sickness where people are willing to crash out over foolish things. That's why I try my best to stay away from people as much as I can, because I realize that it doesn't really matter what your ethnicity is. People are inherently evil. You're talking about bullies because you have preconceived thoughts that Austin was somehow a bully, even though you don't have no evidence. Daily Mail got the video along with another news station, and based on the study of these tapes, there was no justification for what Karmelo did. So that debunks all of the lies that people been publishing on social media, especially from these social media influencers that have done a horrible job in their coverage of this case, because they've been putting out a lot of false narratives and spreading a lot of misinformation that the two brothers were bullying Karmelo, that they beat him up. They put out so many damn lies. It's just sad. And now it indoctrinated all of you viewers that side with Karmelo into believing that because those teens were white, that somehow they were bullies. You know what I mean? You asked the question. Let me go back to that question. Let me see if I can find that. You said if it's in self-defense, he touched him first. Are you an adult or a child? So let me get this straight. If somebody touch you, you're supposed to kill him. So if a police officer touch you, do you have the right to kill them? Where are we living? What's the matter with our brains? So if somebody touch you, you believe you could just kill them. Let's go back to the law, guys. Let's go back to the law because it's like people are just something wrong with them, guys. Something is seriously wrong with people. Again, guys, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Use of deadly force. When could you use deadly force? Deadly force justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's use of deadly force, or to prevent death, serious bodily injury, or the commission of violent crimes such as aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, or robbery. That is the only time you could use deadly force. Do you understand? Do you understand, guys? I mean, you just can't kill people because they touch you. You will spend life in prison. That is not self-defense. Austin had no gun, no knife, and posed no death threats, there was nothing there to justify what he did. Look what it says. Use of deadly force when it comes to self-defense. It is justified when reasonably believed immediately necessary to protect against another person's use of deadly force. So, did Austin use deadly force on Karmelo? The answer is no. He just asked them to leave. And Karmelo told Austin, put your hands on me again and find out. Put your hands on me and you will find out. Does that sound like self-defense? Or does that sound like somebody antagonizing another person, provoking another person, instigating a person to do something so they feel they can do something? Even if Austin put his hand on him to push him or anything, doesn't justify taking a knife and putting it in his heart. It doesn't work that way. That means it's already premeditated, guys. That means in his mind, he told himself, if this white kid put his hand on me, I'm going to pull out my knife and I'm going to stab him. Now, if this kid was so educated, wouldn't he know the law? Wouldn't he know the law that governs self-defense? See, Karmelo is one of those type of kids that understood that you could just go and kill people because they put their hands on you. You know, just like some of you folks that don't know the penal code and the statutes concerning self-defense in Texas. You just don't know the law. And that's why you will end up behind bars for crimes while thinking you protecting yourself. The only way Karmelo could have used deadly force is if Austin pulled out a knife. If Austin pulled out a knife and said, I'm going to kill you, now his life is in danger. Now he is justified. You understand? Now he's justified. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. You can say whatever you want, but there is no threat. You understand? For example, if you're a homeowner, in North Carolina, you can have all kinds of guns in your house. That doesn't mean you could just go outside and start shooting your neighbors. I may have neighbors that do things that I don't like. I may have a neighbor that might do something on my lawn and do something on my property, and I might get mad. That doesn't mean I could go outside with a gun, start shooting. You see what I mean? There are certain laws and guidelines that would allow me that privilege, that right. See, if I'm in my house and somebody start kicking down the door and I look through my Ring camera and there's 3 men with guns, my kids is in their rooms playing video games and they kicking down the door. I have rights to end their lives if they come in this house. I will end their lives in a heartbeat with no mercy. But if I see a car parked outside the house and it's just sitting there, I'm not going to come outside with a gun and start pointing at people. You can't do that. You just can't come outside with your gun and just start pointing at people and start shooting. Well, I was afraid for my life. I saw a car sitting there and, I was fearful. You will spend life in prison. You will spend life in prison. You can't do that. And that's how a lot of you folks think. You think that you could just go do things because it's not going to work like that in court. Because again, when we pull up the law, the only way that Karmelo could have used that knife is if Austin posed bodily harm against him with a deadly weapon or use of deadly force. Somebody pushing you or putting their hands on you is not deadly force, because that would fall under the category of use of force. Meaning, if Austin put his hands on him to push him or whatever the case is, or even to punch him, that's not deadly force. You're not going to die because somebody punched you or pushed you. You understand? You could talk all of that afraid for your life garbage. Now y'all starting to sound like police, because when police say that, y'all say the police is scary. See, this is the problem I don't understand with people. When law enforcement officers, especially in New York and other places, kill unarmed black men, they always say, I was fearing for my life. It looked like he was reaching for a gun, so I killed him. And you good people always complain about that. But when it comes to Karmelo, now you want to use that? That's not going to work in court. Oh, well, I was afraid for my life. Well, why were you there? You didn't belong there. You were the one telling the white boy, put your hands on me again and find out. Does that sound like somebody that's afraid for their life? Or that sound like somebody that's ready to take a life? He was indicted on first-degree murder. You know why? They got a hold of the tape, guys. Let's go back to that content. Again, the Daily Mail, it says on Monday, the Daily Mail became one of only 2 news organizations granted access to surveillance footage. So guys, right now in the United States, only 2 news organizations have been granted access to the surveillance footage of the deadly incident, a killing that shocked the nation and ignited debates about race, privilege, and criminal justice system. And see, this is the issue. this particular case divided all of us. We are literally hating one another over these two individuals. A lot of you hate me. Don't even know me from Adam, but you hate me because of my commentary, because you already took a side. You've allowed this case to divide and conquer. Rather than weighing the evidence, you started to watch these YouTubers who would show you other news stories of other individuals that the law favored them over the other person, and we mix different cases together. Let's stop doing all of that stuff and focus on the circumstances here. Not what happened in the past or what happened here, because I told you already, a lot of these influencers on social media, they just want to make a check. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with making money, but most of them don't care about the story. Here on Ringo TV Reactions, we cover the case with the facts, and we focus on what the law says. What does the law says? What does the law permit? And what you're not supposed to do? Did Karmelo have justification to take out a knife and put it in that young man's chest? Absolutely not. Well, I was fearing for my life. For what? What weapon did Austin have? What gun did he have? What deadly force did he use where you felt you were going to lose your life? When you didn't even belong there, when you were asked to leave. So save me the nonsense about, oh, he was being bullied. Guys, if you're being bullied and it's one of you against a bunch of guys, you gonna stand there and say, touch me again and find out? That doesn't sound like anybody being bullied. That sounds like somebody who is the bully. That sounds like somebody that had the upper hand. See, if I know I got my gun on me and I'm just chilling like this, and you got a couple of dudes right there trying to play themselves, and I'm like this, and they decide they trying to rob me, they trying to do X, Y, and Z, they going in boxes. They going in boxes. You know why? I got the upper hand. I know I do. But I'm not going to go over there and start to be aggressive because I know I got the upper hand. See, a real gun owner who understands gun safety and the privileges and the rights that they have, know just because you have a gun doesn't mean you go over there and stir up drama. Well, I'm gonna stir it up so I can have a reason to shoot him. No, that's not how you do it. You walk away. I know I got my protection with me. I know what kind of damage I could do to you. I don't want to do nothing to you. I just want to go home to my family. But if you cross that line, I will do something. In the case with Karmelo and Austin, Austin never pulled out a knife. Austin never pulled out a gun. Karmelo's life was not in danger. You cannot use "I was afraid for my life." So let me get this straight. Anytime somebody touch you, you're afraid for your life now? Y'all really think y'all could just go around killing people just for no reason? It ain't gonna work for you guys. So it says that the Daily Mail became one of the only two news organizations granted access to the surveillance footage of that deadly incident, a killing that shocked the nation and ignited debates about race, privilege, and the criminal justice system. Why did it ignite debates about race? Because it involves a black and a white. If it was two black young men, nobody would be debating about race, privilege, or the justice system because nobody would care. You know? I mean, just check out the person in the live chat. He said, race hustlers, hope the video comes out, eat your words, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you have a brain, sir. You can't read at the top of the screen. Read at the top of the screen because I can guarantee you didn't graduate high school. Read the top of the screen. It says, I watched footage of the race crime that split America. What I saw shocked me. And this is how it could flip the case. You know why? The people who got a hold of the video watched it. And when they saw it, when they saw what was going on, it showed the truth. And a lot of you folks that been race hustling, race siding because Karmelo's black, you are going to eat your words. You're going to eat those words. You understand? It goes on and it says the 40-minute surveillance video recorded from a stationary camera on the opposite side of the football field captured the 10 minutes leading up to the attack. You see that, guys? It led up to the attack, guys, and they got a hold of the video. You understand? Teen indicted in fatal stabbing of another student at a high school track meet. Fresno, Texas, Associated Press, a teenager accused of fatally stabbing another student at a high school track meet in suburban Dallas was indicted Tuesday on murder charge. A prosecutor said a grand jury indicted Karmelo Anthony in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Collin County, District Attorney Greg Willis said the April 2nd stabbing at the school stadium in Frisco struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. Anthony was 17 at the time of the stabbing and has since turned 18. Now, here's the thing. They waited for him to turn 18 because they want to cook him. Y'all don't understand how the system is playing this. They know he was 17. They waited for him to turn 18. You understand? Students from several high schools in the Fresno Independent School District were competing when the stabbing occurred. Again, ladies, put a 1 in the chat if we are back. I keep telling you guys, double tap the screen to give the video a like. These entities don't want me to share this truth. Look, people, if you guys are not clicking that like button by double tapping the screen, you are doing the platform a disservice. Why do you think they keep trying to shut me down? They don't want me speaking this truth. They want me to be like the other influencers that promote race wars. They want me to be a part of that club that divide the people. We don't do that over here. We don't care if you're white or black. If you're guilty, you're guilty. It's just that simple. You know? We don't do that nonsense. Oh, he's a black kid. I'm a black man. I'm going to side with him. I don't do that. Because I know how the black community get down. I see crime in the black community all the time. And it's like they don't report on that. They don't even tell the police who's doing the crime. Think about that, guys. In the black community, black folk see the drug dealers, see the shooters, see the thugs, see the killers, never report them to law enforcement. They let them thrive. They let them sell drugs. They let them commit crimes. But when it comes to situations like this, all of a sudden, black people want to unite to protect someone that violated the law. Just because he's black doesn't mean you side with him. Just because he killed a white kid does not mean you become racist and say, well, Karmelo killed him. He did us all a favor because look what white people did to us over years and years and years. See, if that's how you think, you're a racist. If that's how you are, you're a racist. And shout out to everybody coming into the building. I cannot say hi and stuff to everybody. I'm working. I'm doing a live stream. Salute to everybody that come into the building. When y'all come into the building, understand that I am working. It's no different if I'm driving. If I'm driving and it's a whole bus full of people, I cannot have conversations with everybody. Right? Okay. I hope that makes sense because I need for y'all to understand that. When I'm working and I'm flowing, I need to flow. I need to flow. I cannot stop every minute. If I choose to stop and say, hey, so-and-so and so, it is what it is. But when I'm working and I'm flowing, let me rock, right? Let me do my job. Now, let's get back to this content here. So it says students from several high schools in Fresno School District were competing When the stabbing occurred, according to an arrest report, a witness said that when Anthony sat under the tent belonging to Metcalf's team, you see that? And listen, Karmelo Anthony sat under the tent belonging to Metcalf's team. He wasn't supposed to be there. Why he go there? Why he go there? Come on. Why did he go? Listen, guys, listen, let me tell you something, man. Where I live at, I cannot just go in somebody's yard and just do what I want. You're inviting yourself into trouble. He did not belong there, guys. We cannot protect this young man because he's black. I get you're trying to have this black unity. You got to stop trying to protect people that are wrong. That's wrong. Number one, he did not belong there. And you got a lot of black folk defending someone that didn't even belong there and want to assume he's being bullied. How are you being bullied when you don't belong there? If I don't belong somewhere, I'm not going there. He was asked to leave. Look back at the tape, at the content. It says, let's see. A witness said that when Anthony sat under the tent belonging to Metcalf's team, Metcalf told Anthony to move. And Anthony replied, "Touch me and see what happens." That escalated pretty fast. Touch me and see what happens. Wow. He just asked you to move, dog. You don't belong here. This is our tent. Why are you here? And that's a witness. And what did Karmelo do? Touch me and see what happens. Does that sound like a man that's being bullied? No. That sounds like a man that is prepared to do the unthinkable. He's ready to crash out. And yet the black community keep justifying murder like this. And you wondering why there's so much crime in the black community. You're wondering why. You're wondering why there's so much crime in the black community because they believe that you could just kill people just because. It's crazy. Notice somebody else named Genius. I think you should switch your name because you're not a genius. Genius says in Texas, you have the right to defend yourself. Simple. Another uninformed, uneducated person. Let's go back to the law so we could teach that uneducated person what the law says. In the state of Texas, self-defense law, penal code reference. You see it on the screen? To protect yourself, you have two options: the use of force and the use of deadly force. To the genius in the live chat who didn't graduate high school, who didn't graduate middle school, the law is on the screen. So what we're going to do for you is we're going to try to talk very slow because I understand that your brain have not developed yet. Right? So we're going to talk pretty slow in order for you to understand because we know that it's hard for you to comprehend. I understand you may have lacked reading and comprehension skills. You may have been on the short bus. You may have had hooked on phonics. Whatever the situation is, I understand. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you to understand the law. Right? So now, according to your genius comment, right? Let me help you out. Let me get this real quick because I want to put your comment on the screen so that we can know that it was you, Mr. Genius, right? Let's see. Let me get this on the screen for you. Again, guys, double tap the screen, man. I got to put a double tap the screen anime on my videos, man, because I'm tired of saying this over and over, guys. Seriously, y'all be just doing me dirty, man. Y'all be doing me dirty. Y'all be in the live. Y'all don't like the videos, but y'all here watching the videos. I don't get it, man. You got to support the content, man. You got to support this work because ain't nobody breaking this stuff down. Now, we got the genius in the building. He says, in Texas, you have the right to defend yourself. So according to this genius, you could just kill somebody if they touch you. You could just kill somebody if they look at you funny. Just kill them and done. You have the right to defend yourself. Okay, let's see what the law says. Let's see if the law goes hand in hand with what the genius believes, right? Let's see. Let's see what the law says. So, according to the law, when it comes to self-defense and protecting yourself, you have two options: use of force or use of deadly force, right? The use of force can only be used, justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's unlawful force. So, first thing first, did Austin use unlawful force against Karmelo? That's the first question. Where's the answer? Where's the answer? Mr. Genius, you're talking about people's height. What does somebody's height have to do with anything? What does somebody's height have to do with anything? I know a lot of dudes that are short that beat the crap out of dudes that are taller. What does height have to do with anything? What kind of unlawful force did Austin use on Karmelo? Let's start right there. Let's just start right there. What unlawful force did Austin use on Karmelo? Because none of you were there. So what unlawful? Now you got to really be smart because there's lawful force, then there's unlawful force. What did Austin do to Karmelo that was unlawful force? Tell him to move? That's not unlawful. What are you talking about? Guys, if this is how these people think, we in trouble out here. So if you're on my property and I tell you to move, I'm unlawful? Bro, change your username, fam. Go change your username right now, because you're not no genius. Something wrong with you. And you live in Texas and you this slow? You live in Texas and you're slow. Guys, if you were to ever run into that person may unalive you because they don't even know the law. Think about how many more people that are in Texas that think like that person. My father lives in Texas and he don't even think like that. So in your mind, you believe that somebody could just unalive somebody for that type of foolishness. That don't make no sense. You know? That don't make no sense at all. Why was Texas comments deleted? Why was Genius comments deleted? Don't delete that man's comments. Guys, to the mods, don't delete someone's comments when I'm interacting with them. You see me interacting with them to make my points. Why would you delete their comments? What are you doing? See, this is why as a moderator, you have to have sense to understand. Is a person doing anything wrong? No. Don't delete their comments. Because what you're doing is you're distracting the whole live. People want to see what that person is saying so that I can deal with it. You understand? Tell you, man. This is crazy. Now I got to go and look at the person's comments to find out what they're saying. To the mods that are in the building, don't touch nobody's comments or I'm pulling your wrenches. Anybody touch anybody's comments, I'm pulling your wrenches. Because that's pissing me off, fam. Seriously. I'm trying to work and do my job. A person is posting comments. I'm trying to make my points. Because when you do that, you will discourage that person. And now the person won't come back. You understand? Leave their comments alone. Now, let me go back and do what I got to do. Let me see. Because that just throws off the whole show. I am trying to work. Let me see. Because now that I got to go regulate situations, now it just throws off my whole strategy of what I'm doing. Because I'm trying to make points. This doesn't make any sense, man. Let me see. Okay, so the genius person is there. He says, don't play with everybody in Texas. See, I understand the slogans in Texas and all of that other stuff. My father's from Texas. But at you, genius, you don't know the law. Let's get some information from you. Are you white or black? Nobody cares about the culture that is in Texas in terms of rough. What I'm saying here is you don't know the law. Are you white or black? Okay, you're black. It figures. That's why you don't know the law. It's because you're black. I wanted you to say that because I need to make my points on why you don't know the law. It's because you're black. So now, according to the law that's right on the screen, are you telling me that you're denying the law that's on the screen? The use of deadly force from Karmelo on Austin was unlawful and it wasn't justified because according to the use of deadly force, it says the only way you can use that, is justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's use of deadly force. Do you know how to read, Mr. Genius? You're still, listen, you're moving the goalposts. You keep talking about he has a twin. Listen, what are you talking about? He has a twin. Number one, you were not there. He has a twin. There was multiple people there. You're talking about he has a twin. Where in this case was Karmelo met with the use of deadly force that meant his life was about to end and he had to stab Austin? Because if that's the case, because you're talking about a twin brother, why Karmelo didn't stab his brother? Why Karmelo didn't stab the brother? If the brother was such a threat, why Karmelo didn't stab him too? Do you see why we're divided, guys? Now, that genius person is supposed to be black, but they don't know the law. And they most likely was raised and grew up in Texas. Still don't know the law. Think about how many more people live in Texas and don't even know the law. You understand? They don't know the law. Again, listen, man. How old are you at Genius? How old are you? That's another thing we need to find out. Now, notice what Genius said. He's chosen for this fight. You see this, guys? So basically, you're a racist. That's what you are? Oh, you're 33. Oh, yeah, you're definitely slow. It's just sad, guys. Absolutely sad, man. Let me put what he wrote on the screen, guys. Let me put what he wrote on the screen. Because you're acting like an immature kid, fam. You're supposed to be a grown man, but you acting like a child. You know? Nobody could take you serious, dog. You're literally acting like a child, and it's not becoming of a man. Right? So now, this is what you wrote. Genius says, bro, his name is Mello. He's chosen for this fight. So you don't really care about the facts. I just show you the law. You can't even have a debate. You can't even respond with any sort of logic. Karmelo was never met with deadly force so that he can match that energy. Karmelo had a knife on him already. Karmelo threatened. Austin said, if you touch me, see what happened. You put your hand on me, see what happened. That's not a man that's being bullied. That's a man that has the upper hand. That's a man that know he got a weapon on him and he's ready to crash out. And you're defending that. Think about how you're making black people look. You're not defending a man that did something that's justifiable. You're defending a man that broke the law. Because based on the law, this particular kid had no reason to do what he did. He's a murderer. At the end of the day, when you study the facts, when you look at what happened, Karmelo murdered Austin in cold blood. And rather than the black community look at this for what it is, they're ignoring it. Karmelo and his family are confident in the justice system and the people of Colon County to be fair and impartial. Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court, said Howard, because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and the impartial and that impartial justice can be done. Howard continued, we expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Now, again, the people who post this don't know about the video. The video that was released clearly debunks all of this self-defense garbage, you know, because people thought there was no video. People thought there was no evidence, but there's a video. Daily Mail got it, and another news organization got the video. And based on the video, it is clear that everything that they were telling us is a lie. That's why he was indicted on first-degree murder. That's why they sent it to the court, and he's indicted. And they're going to go to trial. He's done. He's done because what they're trying to use is self-defense. They're trying to use self-defense, but the video is going to show everyone that there was no justification for what happened. Like I said, in order for Karmelo to use deadly force, I'm tired of repeating myself. You guys are supposed to be adults. I feel like I'm just talking to kids. I feel like I'm talking to 3-year-olds. You're supposed to be adults. We're going to explain this again because it seems like adults don't understand basic law. The only way you can use deadly force is if you're met with deadly force. Equal deadly force. Austin would have had to pull out a knife, pull out a gun to the point where Karmelo had nowhere to go. He couldn't run. He couldn't disappear. No, he was faced with immediate impending death and decided to pull out his knife to defend himself. There was no justification for that. You understand? None. The law says use of deadly force. Justified. I don't think people know how to read. Justified when, let's break this down slow. justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary. So the only reason you could use that deadly force is if death is presented to you. Force that is deadly, where you know you're about to die. It's either you or him. You or him. He got a knife, a gun, something, and you got to quickly pull out that gun to do what you need to do. You understand? There was no circumstances for that. None. To protect against another's use of deadly force. What did Austin do to Karmelo in terms of the use of deadly force? What did he do? Nothing. He didn't do nothing, guys. Telling someone to move out of a tent is not the use of deadly force. I'm telling you, genius, you're not a genius, and you're not smart, and you're not intelligent, and I don't even think you're 33 because you sound very immature. You're not the type of dude other grown men can sit down and have a beer with. We would get annoyed by you. We would want to put you out of the bar because you a clown. Like, seriously? You're acting like you're acting slow. You're not a man, fam. You're not using no sense, no logic. I don't respect you because what you're doing is you're playing games. I'm literally telling you what's going on, and you're literally playing dumb. Well, you know, he should have never stepped to him. Karmelo said, put your hand on me, see what happened. Karmelo stepped in their tent. What do you mean he stepped to Karmelo? This is the thing that I don't understand about ninjas, bro. It's like y'all slow. Very slow. And this is why we look crazy in the world. This is why when white folk, Asian folk, and other people look at us, they just assume we're uneducated and dumb because of the way we conduct ourselves. You're not using your brain. This is crazy, man. I'm talking to adults, and they don't even know how to use their brain. If Karmelo stabbed your brother, stabbed your nephew, stabbed your cousin, you gonna be talking that way? You gonna say, oh, he should have never stepped to him? No, you gonna be ready for action. You're gonna be ready to retaliate. You're gonna want justice. But because he black and it's a white kid, your racist attitude is coming out. Just admit you don't like white people. Just say it. At Genius, do you like white people? Answer the question. At Genius, do you like white people? Do you believe that Austin was racist? We have a white goddaughter. Do you see these people? You see how he's gaslighting? You see the nonsense that I got to deal with, right? Ask him a simple question. Can't answer the question. I'm serious, man. I can't listen. I'm done talking to you. You just stay right there. You just stay right there. I don't got no time to talk to you. You're not a man. All right, let's get back to the content, guys. We're done talking to Genius, right? Let's get back to the content. I don't got time to entertain that clown, right? So now, let me get back to the content. So we talked about this. Yeah, so Karmelo, there was a witness that said, we're reading the bottom of the screen, a witness said that when Anthony sat under the tent belonging to Metcalf's team, Metcalf told Anthony to move, and Anthony replied, touch me and see what happens. Does that sound like a guy being bullied? No. Does that sound like a guy that is being harassed? No. Doesn't. All Metcalf asked him was to move. It's not your tent. You don't belong here. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. He did what he was supposed to do. You see? So now, let me see what else we got. I think I read this. I don't think I read it completely. So it says, students from several high schools in Frisco Independent School District were competing when the stabbing occurred, according to an arrest report. A witness said that when Anthony sat under the tent belonging to Metcalf team, Metcalf told Anthony to move, and Anthony replied, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf then touched Anthony, and Anthony said to punch him and see what happens. Do you see what's going on here? Metcalf then touched Anthony. That's not deadly force. That's not deadly force. All right? And Anthony said to punch me. So Anthony is telling Metcalf to punch him. Are y'all not see how he's aggravating this situation? Y'all can't see how he's instigating violence. He's not de-escalating. He's not walking away. He's not being bullied. He had every opportunity to walk away. But he was defiant in staying there because he already premeditated, pre-planned to provoke this young man to violence because he knew he had the knife on him. He knew it. And he knew Metcalf had no weapon to defend himself. So as soon as he grabbed that knife, he knew Metcalf had no chance. Metcalf posed no deadly force, guys. Metcalf then touched Anthony, and Anthony said to punch him and see what happens, the arrest report said. A short time later, Metcalf grabbed Anthony, and Anthony stabbed him with a knife, the report said. Now again, if Metcalf grabbed Anthony to move him out of the tent, that kind of force doesn't warrant deadly force. You don't kill. Listen, if a security guard grab you from a store, that does not give you the right to kill the security guard. If I'm security, listen, if I'm a security guard, you're stealing from the store, and I grab you, you don't have the right to pull out a knife and stab me. Talking about self-defense. What? So if law enforcement pull you over, tell you to step out the car, and he grab you, well, I feared for my life, so I took my knife and I stabbed the cop. You will burn in prison. You can't do that. Someone grabbing you does not justify killing them. Well, I was fearing for my life. So let me get this straight. You so scared a man grabbed you when you're the one provoking him. You literally threatening him, telling him, hey, if you touch me, you're going to see what's going to happen. You doing all of this stuff, provoking, poking the bear. And then when he put hands on you, you stab him and claim self-defense. Nah, that ain't going to cut it. They got the tape. They got the tape on you now. Now you're done. It goes on and it says he stabbed him with a knife. The report says afterwards, Anthony told an officer that he was protecting himself and that Metcalf had put his hands on me, according to the report. Well, right there, you already lost. That right there, guys, mean Anthony already lost his self-defense case. Let me do this. Let me add this on the screen. Where is it? Not that. Where is it? Where is it? No, not that. Okay, let me do this, guys. Let's break this down. Hold on. Let me break this down. Why is that doing that? Oh, that's why. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let's break this down. Now, let's look at the words of Anthony and let's break this thing down with the law. Afterwards, Anthony told an officer that he was protecting himself and that Metcalf had put his hands on me, according to the report. So, according to Karmelo, there was no use of deadly force from Austin. He just said, I was protecting myself because he put his hands on me. Someone putting their hands on you does not justify killing him. That's crazy. That right there doesn't justify the use of deadly force, guys. It's just not right. He murdered that kid. And anybody that's trying to defend him, you should be ashamed of yourselves. This has nothing to do with race at this point. We're dealing with the facts. We're looking at the facts. Look what it says for use of deadly force. Justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's use of deadly force. To prevent death. So let me get this straight. So Karmelo was doing what he had to do to prevent death? What? That doesn't make any sense. And I really believe a lot of you folks that are watching this live lack reading and comprehension skills, because everybody should be in agreement with what I'm saying. Everybody that has any sense of education supposed to understand right from wrong. If you're fighting against this, you're slow. You're just slow. Slow as heck. There was no use of deadly force from Austin to Karmelo. None. He told a law enforcement officer he was protecting himself. How are you protecting yourself when you didn't even belong there? It ain't like you protecting your property. You didn't even belong there, dog. You didn't even belong there. You were asked to move. You were asked to move. And then you provoked Austin and then basically told him to put hands on you. You told Austin to punch you. He put hands on you rather than you use force and put hands on him. You decide to be a coward and pull out a knife. And you got a lot of content creators that love to talk about gloves up, guns down. And yet, when it comes to this case, they don't talk about that. They don't talk about that Karmelo was a coward for pulling out a knife rather than pulling up his hands. Because if Karmelo really was about that life, about put your hands on me and find out, how come he didn't just put up his hands? How come? How come he didn't just put up his hands? He had other plans. He already told himself, if this white boy put his hands on me, I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out. You know? It doesn't make sense, guys. If Austin put his hand on him to push him away, that does not justify killing. If I'm in a courtroom, the judge is deliberating, verdict, I get mad, I'm start having outbursts. The court officers are going to put hands on me. They're going to restrain me. They're going to drag me out the court. I cannot pull out my pen, stab the officer in the neck, and say I was fearing for my life. I was fearing for my life, so I stabbed the court officer. I would be in prison. I was protecting myself. No, you didn't belong there no more. They restrained you. You were being belligerent, argumentative, disrupting the court, in contempt. We're taking you out the court by force. Austin asked him to leave. He ain't want to go. He felt he could do whatever he want. Why did he bring a knife? All over social media, everybody started talking about, well, everybody carries around a knife. Everybody, it's a track meet. It's a school. Why would you bring a knife there? If you're such an honor roll student, if you're such a smart student who stay out of trouble, why are you walking around with a knife? You're not supposed to have weapons at schools. So why would you have that? Unless you intended on using it. All of these things are going to come up in the court. And his defense team is not going to be able to deal with this. And now that they got the tape out there, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah, it wasn't even his school. Wow. It wasn't even his school. Yeah, he was instigating the fight. He was instigating the fight. Where did he get the knife? Most likely from home. He brought the knife with him. He already had the knife set up. So once the other dude grabbed him, he just pulled out the knife and plunged it in his chest. That's not self-defense. You know, that's not self-defense, man. Look, we're going to have classes on self-defense because if a lot of you folks that live in Texas don't know the law, you're going to end up in prison. Just because you live in a state that have stand your ground laws, self-defense laws, Second Amendment rights, that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want with a gun. In North Carolina, people walk around with guns all day. People be in stores and you see them with their gun. Some people have rifles. And they walk around like it ain't nothing. They just can't be outside intimidating people. Well, you skipped me on the line. Well, you back up now. You back up. If he do that, he going to jail. Can't do that. You can't just pull out your gun and point it at somebody because they skipped you in a line. You going to jail. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get arrested. And you're going to end up losing your privileges to bear arms, just like with a vehicle. When you do a lot of stuff and you break in laws, they take away your rights to drive. So keep thinking you're Rambo. Keep thinking you could just do what you want. Learn how to de-escalate. Learn how to walk away. Karmelo, if he was smart, like a lot of us seasoned brothers in the game that are mature, just walk away. I could be in a store with my gun and some dude is doing something stupid, trying to argue with me. Just because I got my gun doesn't mean I'm going to argue back and forth, because it's going to escalate and I might end up crashing out. What I'm going to do is de-escalate and I'm going to leave because I already know what I could do. I already know I got the upper hand. It's not worth it. It's not worth my freedom. You see what I mean? So when you look at this situation, if Karmelo was so smart, why didn't he just leave? He didn't belong there. Nobody want to talk about that. You know? And again, if it was two black young men, nobody would care. Nobody would care. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll so we can see. Would you Would you care if this was two black teens? Would you care if this was two black teens and one stabbed the other to death? Would you care? Let's see what saith the chat. Would you care if this was two black teens and one stabbed the other to death? Let's see what the people say. Because I can guarantee you, nobody cares when it's two black teens, because black people kill each other every single day and nobody cares. I could go post videos with 1,000 stories about black people committing crimes in the hood every day. Those videos don't get no views. Nobody cares. There's nobody marching. Nobody set up GoFundMes for these people. Nobody cares. They only care because it involves a white teen. That's why. You know? You're going to see a lot of lies, guys. A lot of lies. I'm just looking at the lies in the chat. 56% says yes. Y'all don't give a damn about nobody when it comes to black on black crime. So stop the cap, man. You folks is lying. They lying, bro. This is funny to me. You guys are lying. You don't care. Stop it. You don't care. Nobody cares when black people kill black people. No one cares. The black community do not care when black men kill black men. So stop lying. Stop it. I have never seen the black community raise hundreds of thousands of dollars on a GoFundMe for another black teen's defense when he killed another black teen. Stop the cap, man. You said my ego sound hurt. Ego don't sound hurt. I already know you capping. And I already know you a clown too, because you don't even care. You don't care about black on black crime. What are you doing to solve those problems? How many news reports have you published between black people committing crimes against one another? What exactly are you doing? Do you speak about those topics? Do you see black people caring about those topics? Black people don't care about black people that kill black people. They don't care. In the black community, gangs thrive. Drugs thrive. The drug dealers, the criminals, the thugs are all in the black community. They never get reported to by the police. Black people will say, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not no snitch. Try that in a community where there's white people. Let white folk find out you selling drugs at your house. Police will be by your door. The feds will be there. Let white folk find out that there's gang activity going on by your house. The HOA will be notified. Law enforcement will be notified. They're going to clean the community up. They're not going to play any games. But when it comes to black folk, we protect the criminals. You know? We protect criminals in the black community. It's the truth. Black on black crime, yeah, it happens every day and doesn't get talked about. Nobody cares. The people who voted, think about it, guys. The people who voted are biased towards Karmelo, right? And they're trying to make it look like black people love one another and we care. No, we don't. Because the truth of the matter is, when you have stories of black people killing black people, no one cares. And it's always been like that. And everybody knows that's the truth. I wanted to show that so we could see, based on the polls, how you can't even trust the voting system. You can't trust it. Because all of the people that says, yes, I would care. Let me ask you this question. Are you ready? Because now I got you. I told you guys that I'm playing chess, not checkers. I got you. You fell right in my trap. I got you. You fell right in my trap. I knew you were going to do that. You're so predictable. I got you. Now watch this, gang. Watch this. You guys don't seem to disappoint. Would you care if this was two black teens and one stabbed the other to death? My question to all you folks that says you would care. This is what I have for you. If Karmelo stabbed your black son to death, would you be defending Karmelo? All your son did was ask him to leave. And Karmelo told your son, if you put your hands on me, what and what's going to happen? He stabbed your son to death. We're talking about your son. Are you going to be defending Karmelo? Are you going to be sending money to his GoFundMe? This is where all the hypocrites switch up. Because if that was your son and he's black, you would not be defending Karmelo. You would not. You're a hypocrite. And this is what I mean. You say you care about black on black crimes, blah, blah. You don't care. You're a liar. You will be defending your son at all costs. You will be defending your son. My baby! He stabbed him! My baby! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! That's what you would be doing. None of you would be sending money to Karmelo's GoFundMe or whatever fundraiser he got. Look how much money y'all gave this kid. Y'all gave him so much money, he living a lavish life and got a brand new car, living in luxury homes. Multi-million dollar neighborhoods he living in. Sick. If this kid stabbed your black son, or better yet, if he stabbed your daughter, you going to defend Karmelo? Your daughter dead. You defending Karmelo? No, you not. No, you not. But the only reason why you're defending him is because the other kid is white. The other kid is white. That's why. It's sad, man. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, his parents, what you said? His parents made good money. Both had good jobs. But their son is a murderer. So this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. A lot of people have families that make good money and their kids turn out to be savages. You have a lot of white kids that they come from good homes. Family makes money and they go and they shoot up schools. So it doesn't really matter how much money anybody make. You know? Why are you asking where's the video? Do you know how to read? I'm talking to the person that says, where's the video? I really believe a lot of people are just slow. They're really slow. And this is why it's so easy to deceive you. Because you're not reading, you're not paying attention. This is a live stream. Think about that. It's like people come to social media, they click on a video, they have no brain cells, they're not no comprehension skills, no discerning of the topic, no context. They don't seek it. They just want instant gratification. Where's the video? It's sad, man. Let me see what else we got. So we talked about the law. Karmelo Anthony graduates high school, amend murder charge. Karmelo Anthony, the teen accused of fatally stabbing Fresno Memorial High School athlete Austin Metcalf during a track meet in early April, clearly put in the work while at school. And see, they're trying to publish all of this educational stuff, but none of that stuff mean nothing when you're not smart enough to walk away. Social justice organization, Next Generation, which is a scam in my opinion. That's that organization that's not even his attorney. They're just some people butting their nose in, and that particular guy that is I guess the founder or whatever of that Next Generation, whatever action network. We exposed him because he had some sort of domestic violence issue, I believe, with his woman allegedly, where he put hands on her. So you can't even take these people serious. Go look through my channel. I already talked about that particular guy. He has a history of domestic violence. You know what I mean? We already brought out the tapes on that. So it goes on and it says, the organization said his 3.7 GPA and completion of graduation requirements mean he could graduate without attending the final month and a half of the academic year. Nobody cares about any of the stuff in regards to him graduating or any GPA or any of that garbage, because none of that stuff doesn't make any sense, guys. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. We're talking about a young man that murdered a kid in cold blood, and people are justifying it even though there was no threat of bodily harm done to him. There was no threat of a weapon, a gun, a knife. Nothing was there. There was nothing there. And the black community sided with Karmelo just because he's black. And I think that's sad. However, now watch this, guys. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail. Now, who got the footage of the stabbing? The Daily Mail. The Daily Mail have obtained the footage, the exclusive footage. The Daily Mail and another news organization has the footage, guys. There was a camera and they obtained the footage. It says, however, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Fresno Independent School District headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the stabbing. Karmelo is done. Karmelo is done. You understand? Are you getting this, gang? Are you getting this? The Daily Mail reviewed the tape, and another news organization, they all have the tape. Based on the evidence, guys. Look what it says again. However, however, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District's headquarters shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the stabbing. The Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue. Listen, Karmelo is done. He's done. They're going to bring the tape up in court, and he's finished. He's done. He's finished. It's over. Do you understand me? It goes on and says, the Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue, captured by a high-angle camera positioned near the press box at typically used, for football broadcasts. The footage shows the tent at the top left of the screen. Students are seen sitting idly beneath it, waiting for the competition to start. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it becomes apparent that the moment has happened when an armed Anthony attacked Metcalf. Are y'all getting this? And even with this information, the black community still don't care. They're still gonna side with Anthony because he's black. A lot of you folks are gonna look horrible when they finally release everything to the public. You're gonna look horrible, man. Absolutely horrible, because you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to the facts. You know? It don't make no sense. It makes none at whatsoever. Because he killed this kid and everybody's defending him even though the facts are clear. You know? And black people are justifying it as much as they could. They're ignoring all the facts, all the information that I'm publishing, all the information that I'm speaking on. It's all being ignored. It's all being ignored. Let me see. Hold on a second. Hold on. I got to do some spring cleaning. This is only the first kill. What's the big deal? To the mods, don't delete genius comments, right? I think you guys blocked them. Don't block them. Let them rock out. Unblock them. I think it was Shoshao that did that. It looked like it said Shoshao did it. I think First Forever Studios deleted a comment. Don't block genius. Let him rock out. Let him rock out. Just let him just do his thing. You know what I mean? Because next minute he gonna say that I blocked him and didn't want him to voice his thoughts. You know what I mean? Even though I disagree, let him just do. I don't want an echo chamber. If you disagree with me, you can come into this chat and disagree. You're welcome. Just don't be disrespectful to the moderators. If you disrespect the moderator, they'll block you. If you disrespect me, you'll be blocked. You could voice your opinion. You could be anti this. It's cool. Just don't post no hate, no disrespect. Those are the rules. Right? So I don't mind if you disagree with me. I'm not going to block you if you disagree. You have a right to disagree. It's a public platform. We can disagree. We could agree. We could debate. We can have a conversation. I'm trying to have a conversation about the facts. I'm not here to take sides because that young man is black. I'm not taking sides of the white guy because he's white. What I'm looking at is the facts. What are the facts? That's all I'm concerned with. And based on the information we got, ladies and gentlemen, the Daily Mail has the video, guys. Now, the video is going to be released to the public. You know, it doesn't matter if the genius dude is babbling. Who cares? It is what it is. He could troll. He could do whatever he wants. Think about this, guys. I need for all of y'all to understand this, right? Let me put myself back on the screen. This is social media, right? This is a vertical live stream. We're in the YouTube Shorts algorithm where there are millions upon millions of people that don't even know who I am. They have no clue who I am. They're just scrolling on their phone and they're seeing me. They're like, what is this guy with the hat saying? Let me see what he says. I don't want to hear him. Swipe. You're going to have trolls. You're going to have people that's going to come in here and name call. You're going to have people that's going to disrespect you. You're going to have all kind of people. It's in the YouTube Shorts algorithm. People that are in the YouTube Shorts algorithm normally want a quick fix, instant gratification. So if they come to your live and you're not saying anything that they feel is necessary, worthy of whatever, They're going to clown you. They're going to talk crap. Who cares? That's all I'm saying. So if trolls come in, let them come in and talk whatever. As long as they're being respectful to the host and to the mods and to the people in the chat, everything is good. If they're being disrespectful, then you block them. But here's the problem. We don't want to just be blocking people just to block people, because then you're hurting the platform. Because then now if you just start blocking everybody just because they disagree, now we don't got nobody to view the platform. Doesn't make any sense. That's like somebody coming into your store, and because they didn't want to buy nothing, you banned them from the store and trespassed them from, well, you can never come back in my store again because you didn't buy nothing. You won't have no business. You know? So you want to make sure that people have a right to share their opinion. Doesn't matter if they're being goofy in the chat. Doesn't matter if they're saying something crazy. This is social media. Let them rock out. You know what I mean? Let them rock out, do their thing, have fun, as long as they not disrespecting nobody. That's all. When it comes to moderation, when it comes to being a mod, disrespect, we don't tolerate that. Spamming the live chat, we don't tolerate that. You don't block somebody for that. You give them a warning. Hey, so-and-so, don't spam the live chat with the same comment over and over and over. If they do it again, you block them. Right? Simple as that. Posting YouTuber names, you delete their comment. No free promotion. You know what I mean? No free promotion. The only promotion that can happen over here is the people that rock with this platform. Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC, Floridine Rollo, Forever Studios, Ethereal. Who else we got? Those that are pretty much affiliated with the channel in terms of supporting the channel, those folks, you can pretty much, their names are allowed. But anybody else on the outside, you see anybody promoting their name, you delete their comment. You warn the person who did it. If they continue doing it, you block them. But other than that, I want people to express their thoughts, because that's how we have conversations. Let me see. Nia says, you can clearly see who the racists are. They're called you racist for looking at the facts. Well, I get called that from black people. Black people hate me. They call me a coon and a sellout. They say that I'm trying to, I guess, please white people. Like I'm trying to fit in with the white crowd. That's what they say. I don't understand why they say that, because I'm not trying to fit in with anybody crowd. In North Carolina, you got a lot of racists. You got a lot of white folk that don't like black people. So I'm not really trying to fit in with anybody's club. You know? The problem that I got with a lot of people that coming into the live chat is that they don't understand the law. You know? So we're going to go over the law again for the people on the slow bus. Right? Let me see if I could get this again on the screen. Where did I put that? Okay. That's the law, right? That's the law. Now let me get what Karmelo had published. Let me see if I could find that. Where is it? I think this is it. Let me see. No, that's not it. Let me see. Okay, I think it was down here. One of these. That's weird. Where the heck it go? I don't know where I put it. But anyway, we know what we're talking about. Basically, what I'm looking for is the statement that Karmelo put out there in regards to him telling law enforcement that he stabbed or he defended himself. He said he was protecting himself from Metcalf. Now, again, guys, this is the self-defense law in Texas, and it clearly says that The use of deadly force. Justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's deadly force. Question. What did Austin do that was deadly force towards Karmelo? Answer the question. I'm trying to see which one of you folks graduated high school, because I don't think a lot of you folks did. Because, you know, when we go over the law, there's no way you can justify what Karmelo did. You're only defending him because he's black. But if Karmelo stabbed your black cousin, you would not be going hard for Karmelo. You would not. You would be riding with your dog. If Karmelo stabbed your peoples from your hood, you would not be saying, yo, I rock with Karmelo because he's black. You would be defending your dog who got murdered. The only reason why you rocking with Karmelo is because he's black. Just say you're a racist and done. Just say you're a racist. If you're black and you rock with Karmelo, just come into the live chat. Be honest. Stop being a hypocrite. Be real. Just say, yo, I don't like white people. Just say you're a racist. Just say that. I would respect you more. Listen, dog, I would respect you folks if you just come into the live chat as a man and just say you don't like white people and you're happy that what Karmelo did was done to a white kid because it makes you feel good. I would respect you more. But don't hide your hand and act like you speaking some sort of truth when we looking at the law and it's not adding up. You looking crazy. You know? So again, guys, we got the law on the screen and it says, and again, to everybody that's in the live chat running their big mouths, I'm waiting for y'all to answer these questions. Karmelo used deadly force. The only way you could use deadly force based on the law is only justified when reasonably believed, immediately necessary to protect against another's use of deadly force. So what did Austin use as deadly force that is on record? Saying someone feared for their life is dumb. You folks got to educate yourselves. So if that's the case, if a cop pull you out a car and you fear for your life, should you kill him? If a cop pull you over and you're black, driving while black, get out the car, get out the car. I fear for my life. Let me grab my knife, stab the cop in the neck. Are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? What works for cops don't work for you. I think you ought to know that by now. Because when cops use that, I feared for my life, y'all complain. But y'all trying to use that with Karmelo. How could Karmelo fear for his life? He didn't belong there. He was asked to move. He was the one provoking the situation by saying, yo, if you put your hands on me, you're going to see what's going to happen. That's not a man that's fearing for his life. That's a man that want to take a person's life. He premeditated what he's going to do. He said, if you touch me, see what happens. But you still defending him because he's black. That's not no self-defense. Justin, you have no brain cells. Do you not understand that? The law is right above you and you're so slow. Listen, guys, this is why I stay away from humans. This is why I don't talk to people, bro. I'm telling you, people are walking, living NPCs. They are walking, living NPCs. The law is right there and they are brainwashed, bro. Now watch another nut job says, why do you hate your own people? Ladies and gentlemen, are y'all seeing this? Are y'all seeing this? The person said, why do you hate your own people? So, in their mind, I supposed to be defending Karmelo even though he's guilty. Karmelo is not my people. He's not my people. No. No. Let me ask you a question. If a black man sodomizes a 10-year-old boy, is that black man your people? Talk to me. If a black man a so-called white woman, black woman, and tied them up in the house and burned them alive, do you claim him as your people? Talk to me. Now here comes the goalpost moving. So you're okay with Zimmerman? The topic is not about Zimmerman. Why do you ninjas always do that? You move the goalposts when you can't win an argument. Why do you do that? Stick with the facts. In this particular case with Karmelo, nobody's going to be talking about Zimmerman. The judge don't want to hear about that. The judge is looking at the facts. The judge and the jury is going to be looking at that video. They're not going to be talking about nobody else. In this case, Karmelo is done. And y'all still trying to defend this kid. The Daily Mail got the tape. They looked at the tape, and there is nothing on the tape that shows any confrontation. I cannot wait for the tape to be released. I am going to run the numbers up when they release that tape. I'm going to play that tape day in, day out, over and over and over and over. Just so I could get this message out, fam. It's crazy. The facts are out there and people ignoring the facts, y'all. The people are literally ignoring the facts because Karmelo is black. You had a person that came in, they said, why do you hate your own people? So let me get this straight. Me speaking the truth mean that I hate my people. Let me tell you something, man. All black people that are committing crimes, I don't like them. And they're not my people. Black men that are killing women and children, I don't like them. They're not my people. Black men that are selling drugs in the black community, those are not my people. I don't like them. I don't like ninjas. Do you got that now? I don't like them. I don't like criminals. I don't like pedophiles. I don't like murderers that are killing people, innocent people. I don't like them. Do you understand? Those are not my people. Anybody that's black that's committing crimes against their own people, I don't like you. Any black man or woman committing crimes and doing evil against other races of people, I don't like you. Do you understand? I don't like criminals. So when you say you don't like your own people, I don't like Karmelo. I don't like him. Just because he's black doesn't mean I have to like him. And I don't even like Austin. I don't know him to like him. I don't care about the white or black argument. What I'm focusing on here in my commentary are the facts of this case. The facts. It's just sick, guys. You have another clown. You have no criminals in your family or friends. I don't got friends, and I don't got no family. I don't got no friends. You trying to look for dirt. I don't got no friends. I don't got no family. My family is in my house. That's my responsibility. That's my family. These entities and demonic spirits that be working through these influencers on social media, they're the worst because they're trying to keep race baiting you good people into focusing on white and black issues rather than the facts. The law is right there. Use of deadly force can only be used, it can only be justified when reasonably believed, which means Anthony have to reasonably believe that immediately necessary to protect against what? Another use of deadly force. In other words, Austin would have to have pulled out a knife, pulled out a gun. Something had to have been done that made the situation a life or death situation. The circumstances was not there. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of black folks, guys, suffer from internalized racism. They're racist. They just act like they're not. A lot of black people don't like white people. And anytime they see stories like this, it just makes their blood boil, and they look at it as Karmelo's a hero because of what he did. It's the truth. Like I said, if it was black on black, nobody would care. The people who are voting, they're full of crap. They're full of crap because black people die every day by the hands of black people, and black people don't care. We don't march. We don't open up GoFundMes for them. We don't support them. We don't go to their communities. We don't do anything about it. We ignore those stories. The only time we come out of the woodworks is when it involves a white person. That's the only time. You know? That's the only time, guys. It's really, really sick, man. Absolutely. It's just sick. And if you notice, I'm just ignoring all the trolls. I'm just letting them talk whatever they want to talk, but they're looking crazy because when you have the law right there, you can't argue against that, guys. And not only the law, but the actual facts that came from the Daily Mail, guys. Let me go back to it. Check it out on the screen. Check it out. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail, to all the trolls that are talking a whole load of crock in the live chat, right? Read what it says on the screen if you know how to read. However, the footage reviewed by the Daily Mail, the footage of the actual crime scene, was reviewed by the Daily Mail at the Frisco Independent School District headquarters, shows no obvious physical confrontation between the two prior to the stabbing. So with all of the gossip, hearsay, bochinche that these influencers are saying on YouTube, they're just doing that for content to get views and clicks. But the actual tape shows no confrontation, according to the Daily Mail. It says the Daily Mail did not detect anything that indicated chaos was about to ensue. Captured by a high-angle camera positioned near the press box and typically used for football broadcasts, the footage shows the tent at the top left of the screen. Students are seemingly sitting idly beneath it, waiting for the competition to start. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it becomes apparent that the moment has happened when an armed Anthony attacked Metcalf. Wow. The publications state that Karmelo's stabbing of Metcalf was not visible on camera, but students were spotted fleeing the area after the attack. Moments later, at least 2 people can be seen carrying an injured Metcalf down the bleachers to a walkway at the bottom of the seating area. More individuals, including some adults, are seen rushing to the side to help. As rain begins to fall again, Metcalf is visibly cradled in the arms of his twin brother, Hunter, bleeding heavily as they await emergency medical services. Daily Mail stated that the surveillance reviewed appears to challenge the self-defense claim, offering little visible evidence that Anthony was in immediate danger before the attack. Wow. Are y'all seeing this, guys? It's over for Karmelo Anthony, guys. Absolutely over, man. Absolutely over. And like I said, guys, when it comes to the trolls, right? You let the trolls run their mouth. They over here watching me. They not on their platforms. They not on their platforms talking. They over here. You know why? Because the truth is over here. We already provided to you the law. We provided the statutes. And based on everything that transpired, Karmelo's done. And when the verdict come in, I will be one of the first YouTubers that will be going live to say I told you so. And all of the content creators that have been publishing all of their hate videos, all of their race bait videos, judging and defending Karmelo, even though he's guilty, you guys are going to look bad. And I'm running the numbers up. I'm going to make 100 videos once the verdict come in. I'm making videos every day, all day. I'm making 1,000 YouTube shorts, 1,000 uploads. I'm going live 5 times a day. And I'm going to continue to go more and more and more. Because a lot of these people are literally praying to God. Imagine, you got clowns praying to God for a killer that murdered another teen. Only because he's black, they're doing that. Like I said, if Karmelo stabbed your cousin, your kinfolk, you would not be praying to God to protect him. You're only doing that because he's black. You're only doing that because he's black. I don't want to be that kind of person that defend people because they're black. Just because you're black doesn't mean I rock with you. Just because you black doesn't mean I rock with you. I've learned a long time ago, it be your own people that turn against you. Again, the hate that I get is from black people. They hate me for speaking this truth. You know? They turned it into a race war, guys. They turned this whole thing into a race war. And they denying the truth. They denying the facts. They denying everything. They in their feelings about this. Imagine, black people are supporting Karmelo not because he did the right thing, but because he's black. Their loyalty to him is because he's black. They don't know him. Just because he looked black. That's how our people think. That's why we always look crazy in public. If Karmelo killed your daughter, you won't be defending him. If Karmelo stabbed your son, who had his whole life ahead of him, black folk would not be defending Karmelo. You won't. And I'm convinced that the trolls that you see in the chat, right? They're NPCs. That's what they are. Those are NPCs. They're just repeating themselves over and over and over. Those are bots. They're just sent by the devil to keep planting the seed that Karmelo is justified. He have a right to bear arms. He have a right to do this. Even though we explained everything already. Even though the Daily Mail got the video that shows nothing was there that justified Karmelo doing what he did. Y'all gonna look bad, bro. When I tell you, I'm gonna have a field day with those tapes. When they release those tapes, man, it's gonna be over for you guys. If anybody is in the live chat disrespecting the host, you're supposed to just block them. There's no warnings for that. You just block them. If you see anybody disrespecting, you just put them on the block list. Nobody can rock out with disrespect. So if you're a mod and you see disrespect towards me or a moderator, you just block them forever. Because I'm not disrespecting nobody. I let people rock out, talk their talk, disagree, say what they're going to say. But if you're going to start that disrespectful stuff, you ain't going to be allowed to post. So, guys, we're going to get up on out of here. Appreciate you stopping by. There's more stuff I could show, but it is what it is. I showed a lot of different things. This guy is cooked. He's done. You know what I mean? He's pretty much done. I'm not here to defend him. I'm here to defend the truth. And it doesn't matter if you're white or black. When I do my commentary, it's pretty much for the truth. I'm not here to side with somebody because they are black. That's just irresponsible to just side with somebody because they're black. That's crazy. That's like somebody killed somebody in the black community, and because the person is black, hey, you saw who did it, man? Nah, man, I ain't see nothing, dog. I ain't see anything. That's because he killed a white guy by mistake. So all of a sudden, I don't see nothing. But if he killed somebody in my family, you think I'm going to be sitting there talking about I ain't see nothing? You think I'm going to be sitting there trying to defend you, dog? And you murdered somebody in my family? That's the problem with black people. We support killers. We support drug dealers. We support gang members. We support pedophiles, rapists. We support people that rob other people, steal cars, burglars. We support them. And it's sick. It's really, really sick. We got to stop being like that. We got to stop being loyal to black people just because they're black when they commit crimes. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. If you commit a crime and you're guilty, I can't defend you. If Karmelo was innocent and the evidence show that Austin pulled out a gun, Austin pulled out a knife, and Karmelo did what he had to do, I'll rock with Karmelo. I would have been rock with dog. If it was said that Austin pulled out a knife, was like, yo, you better get out of here, and he pulled out a knife, at that point, all bets are off the table. Doesn't matter if you're white or black. If you pull out a knife, you threatening my life. Now my life is in danger, because if you poke me with that knife, I may not make it. So at that point, if Austin pulled out a knife or a gun and threatened Karmelo, and Karmelo pulled out his knife, and Austin went to go swing, and he took his knife and put it in his heart, then I'm team Karmelo after that. Ain't no doubt. Because it would line up with the law. Because the deadly force that Austin would have used with a knife was matched with Karmelo using his knife to save his life. He had to do what he had to do. But when we look at the facts, Austin had no knife, no gun, posed no death threats, nothing. So at that point, I can't rock with Karmelo. Can't. You clowns keeps talking about Zimmerman and stuff that have nothing to do with the case. Should we go all the way back to the days of Jesus Christ? Should we go all the way back to every injustice that was ever done? Should we go all the way back to slavery and talk about that too? None of these things have anything to do with the case. Stop moving the goalposts and stick with the topic. The problem is you cannot argue with me with this case. You can't. So stop moving the goalposts. Stop it. If you cannot argue in defense of what I said, just be quiet. Because your man, Karmelo, is done. He's done. You know? There's no other way around it. Shout out to Integrity, Loyalty for the support. And shout out to all of those that supported the stream earlier. I think you have Dualtron. I don't know if you got a scooter, but probably got a scooter, Dualtron. What's going on with Mini Motors, man? They shut down their website. They probably revamping it. But shout out to everybody that supported the show. Integrity says, the same people who denied OJ until he unalive the white lady, Melo gonna get treated many ways in the pen. Them convicts know what he got. Just a bad situation. And here's the thing, guys. You want to know, put a 1 in the chat if you want to know the truth. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to know the truth that a lot of people ain't talking about. I'm going to tell you the truth, guys. I'm going to tell you the truth that a lot of people are not talking about. When Karmelo go to prison for life, because he's going to go to prison. He's going to be in a lot of trouble when he get there. The reason why Karmelo is not going to have a good time in prison is not because I said it. Not because that's what I wish. It's because content creators made him famous on social media. If you guys would have just let this case do its thing, meaning once the crime took place, let the courts handle it. Don't take sides, just focus on the facts. But because black influencers been straddling the fence, praising Karmelo, putting him up there as a hero, right? You're making a lot of convicts in the pen, a lot of racists, a lot of people that hate blacks. You're making them extremely angry. They can't wait for Karmelo to get to prison. They can't wait. Because if we would have just leave the case alone and just say, look, Karmelo's guilty, he did wrong, he got to pay, do his time, then guess what? All them inmates in prison, they'll just look at him as just another dude that killed a kid, and it is what it is. But you guys made him into a hero. You guys made him look like he's some sort of savior. So you're infuriating a lot of convicts in prison. And you might think a lot of black men in prison going rock with him. No, they're not going to rock with him because they understand prison law. They're not getting involved in that. They're not getting involved in that. It's going to be a race war. It's going to disturb the peace that's going on in prison. But Karmelo going to have to deal with them convicts when he get there. Because they're going to see how tough he really is. Because you influencers praise them so much. You put them on a pedestal. You did Karmelo dirty. By defending him so much, you're putting him in harm's way. Rather than you just saying, hey, he's a young black kid, I feel for him, but he made a bad choice, dog. Karmelo, you made a bad choice. Yeah, you black. You our people. But dog, I can't really rock with you in this one, man. I can't. Based on the facts, yeah, man, you murdered that kid. Now, it doesn't matter what happened in times past. It doesn't matter what happened in any other case. I'm not here to talk about no other case. I'm here to talk about this case. That's the problem with people. They never stay on topic. They always distract you with other stuff, moving the goalposts. Stay on topic. Because of what he did and the facts, I cannot defend Karmelo Anthony in this case. If you influencers would have stuck with that, even if Karmelo got convicted and served time in prison, them racist whites won't be on to him, because it'll just be another guy that murdered somebody. But you guys made him internet famous. You don't think in the prisons they know about Karmelo? They know about him. And they already made plans for him, because you influencers made him famous. You defended him so much, even though he's guilty. Okay, he black, he a brother, but he guilty. We can't rock with him. We can't. Put it like this. If we in the hood, it's 5 of us, and reports came back that one of our mans in them sexually abused this 12-year-old girl. And there's video, because when the incident happened, they took his cell phone. His cell phone is unlocked. The brothers got a hold of the phone. We look, and there's video of him sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl against her will. And we see that. Doesn't matter if that's your man's in them. How could you rock with him after seeing that? You know he's guilty. Are you telling me that you'll destroy the phone and continue to rock with him even though you know the truth? Doesn't matter if we grew up in the sandbox. If we find out that you did that type of evil, we can't rock with you no more. We can't defend you. We can't defend you. We can never look at you the same. So when I look at this case with Karmelo, I looked at the facts. I'm not looking at race. I'm looking at the facts. And I'm judging it by that. Don't tell me nothing about any other case that happened where there was injustice or whatever. I don't control the courts. You understand? I've reviewed all these cases. When it came to the situation with Penny, the black man that was murdered on the train by the white racist soldier, I defended the black man. You understand? I defended the black man who got choked out by the so-called military white man on the train. I defended that black man. The black community wasn't there for that. They didn't pat me on the back and say, "Good job, brother." No. I defended the black woman who got shot in the face by the white cop for saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." I defended her and made it very clear that that cop is a racist, trigger-happy demon. Where's the love from the black community? They gave me no love. But because I weighed the evidence in this case, I get hate from the black community. Ain't that something? When Karmelo go to prison, and he will, he's going to be faced with all the white gangs that are in prison And the black folk that are in prison are not going to get involved. They're not. They're not going to get involved, guys. Y'all set Karmelo up for doom. Y'all should have left that alone. If you influencers would have did the right thing and just monitor the case the way it is, all of those white racists that are in prison, Aryan nations or whatever they want to call themselves, you don't think they watching? You don't think they see the headlines? They watching. And they would have been watching y'all videos like, well, at least black people are not defending this evil. And they'll leave it alone and just let Karmelo do his time. Because they'll look at it like just another situation that happened in the street. But you guys making him out to be some sort of martyr, some sort of hero for killing a white kid just because he's white, and you're only defending him because he's black, you turned it into a race issue. So now when he gets to prison, he's not going to have a good stay. Y'all setting up Karmelo for a bad day in prison. He's not going to last. He's not going to last in there. Because if the black inmates try to protect him, there got to be something in it for them. Just because he black don't mean nothing. He would have to join a gang. He would have to be a part of some sort of gang in prison, even for him to even be in any sort of protection. But they don't know him like that. And he's not no gangster. So he's not in these streets. Number one, he's just a kid that made a stupid decision. You know what I mean? He made a dumb decision. And now that he's going to prison, he ain't going to have nobody to protect him. Shout out to Integrity for the $20 support. Says, hey, the FBA going to make him pay for protection. He may have to pay. His parents are going to have to pay somebody. Parents going to have to pay for somebody in prison to hold him down. Because he's going to be 18 in prison. He going to need protection. So the family going to have, I guess that GoFundMe money is going to be used for him to have some sort of protection. Because nobody ain't protecting him for free, because if they do, it's going to be wars in prison. It's going to be wars. If you think that in the pen, it's like black folk are just ruling everything, no, you got white gangs too. And they connected. You know? He's going to prison, guys. He's going to go to prison. Just like a lot of young people that went to prison. I've seen many videos, many news videos of young black men and even white young men go to prison for life for committing these crimes. You know? So he's in trouble. He's in big trouble. Well, guys, I'm going to get up on out of here, man. Y'all be safe. Leave your comments under the video, you know, when y'all get a chance. It is what it is. Appreciate everybody that support the show. Everybody that rock with the platform. We're pretty much doing some overtime work doing these videos. Shout out to the mods. Exandra in the building. What's going on? Exandra in the building. Caramel, Kimmy Kim, Show Shao, Forever Studios, V Dubman. Shout out to everybody that support the show. Everybody that clicked the like button, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. You know? It is what it is, guys. So we're going to get up on out of here, man. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. How these stories come about and people ignore the facts. I try to give you guys the facts. Y'all continually hate me every time I give you the facts. I don't get it. I'm giving you honest commentary about a case, and I get hated. Got people saying free Karmelo. Same thing they did with the Messiah, remember? It was either the Messiah get released or Barabbas. They were like, free Barabbas, a killer. Free Karmelo so he could go out there and kill somebody else. That's the black community for you guys. If Karmelo was a pedophile, they'll say free Karmelo. Same way. So y'all take care, fam. I'm going to get up on out of here, man. Again, rate, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel for the best commentary on YouTube, the best breakdowns, news report content. We do that over here. Fair and balanced. We don't take sides. We focus on the story. And whatever the story says, we look at the facts. We find out who's innocent, who's guilty. Simple as that. Right? So it is what it is. Y'all can stand with whoever the hell y'all want to stand with. All I know is I stand with the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who I stand with. I don't stand with killers and drug dealers. I don't stand with them. So it is what it is. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. I'm out of here. Y'all take care. Peace. We out.